I'm a recovering addict named Meg.
Hey, Meg.
And I'm going to introduce the main workshop speakers. Our first up will be Skip Y from, I think, South Shore area?
Northwest.
All right, Northwest, I'm sorry. I've known Skip ever since I got clean, and he always shares a really good message. Today's topic is self-acceptance. And with that, I'd like to introduce Skip.
I'm an addict. My name is Skip.
Hi, Skip.
Gratefully recovering through the grace of God and their program and your people. I like to do one thing when I speak, and that's the only thing I ask of you people here is if we can, we have a moment of silence and bring the spirit here in this room, and we do that, please. Thank you. And also one more thing. I got one more thing. Take the person next to you and give them a hug. Show the love of this program. Okay, now I got you guys going. Person in front of you, I want you to give them kind of a massage. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm grateful and I'm thankful for the Rooms of Narcotics Anonymous and this program. You know, it's truly saved my life. You know, because when I got here, I had none. You know, I was a survivor, and I believe we're all survivors in these rooms. You know, and today I'm living that dream, man, that it talks about in our literature. You know what I mean? And we're all truly miracles here. You know, like I always share, the winners, you know, around the Rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, man. You know, but you know, topic of self-acceptance. You know, I'm still learning about myself, man. You know, the ever-changing realities of life, man. You know, it's just, you know, and it says in our literature, everything that we know, and especially what we know about the truth, is subject to be revised at a later date. You know, and you know, I can truly attest to that. You know, and I believe that in my heart. You know, and I say things out of our literature not because they sound good, or because you know, it makes me any better than anybody. It's because I believe it today. You know, and I've lived a lot of what's going on in that literature. You know, I found me inside that book, you know, and all our literature, you know, but, you know, I'm still finding out about myself. You know, when I came here, it was the obvious, you know what I mean? You know, I was a failure at using drugs, you know, and I just wanted the pain off of me, you know, and coming here and learning about the disease of addiction, you know, I found an identity. I mean, I always knew I was an addict, you know, you know, but I didn't know how to get better. You know, I thought I would die. I thought I would live that lie, man. And I'm here to tell you, man, la mentira está muerta. The lie is dead. We do recover in Narcotics Anonymous, you know, and I thought I was going to live that lie. I was going to die an addict. I could see myself in a rocking chair with a beer and a joint in one hand and just falling asleep, you know what I mean? And today I know that lie is dead, man. You know, I've been given another chance. I've been given a gift, man, called life, you know, through my God. And when I came here, I had problems with that. You know, today I know what works. I know what's the greatest source of my strength today. You know, and that's my God. You know, I know God is good, great, on time, and never late. You know, and I believe that today. You know, that my lessons that I need to learn in life, man, I accept, you know, and I don't question today, you know, why things are happening in my life. You know, it's how can I get through them without using, you know, how can I get through those experiences without picking up that first one. You know, it ain't the caboose that kills me, man. It's the engine. You know, it's that very first one. As long as I stay away from that first one, I'm okay. You know, and I have some acceptance with that. You know. But I came here and through working some steps in my life, and you know, for me, I believe it's living some steps. You know, I learned about steps in workbooks and working with a sponsor, you know, and getting some other addicts experience. But it's not until, you know, I experienced life on its own terms that I learned how to live steps in my life. You know, book knowledge is nice, you know, but until I go through some experiences, man, where I'm truly powerless, you know, and I truly seek out a power greater than myself, and I use that faith I found in that second step, and it starts to become trust in my life, you know, then I'm starting to live this program. And I can't think or talk my way into a good way of life, you know. And I've come to terms with that today. You know, and I started to find out about Skip because they told me when I took a 4th step, and they told me when I got here, they said, Skip, you're going to meet a stranger, and that stranger's going to be you. You know, because I didn't know who I was. I mean, I was a chameleon. I turned into whatever you wanted me to turn into. I wore my hat this way, that way, no hat, big hat, little hat, this color, that color, and I became whatever I was around. Association brings on assimilation, and I assimilated to whatever environment I was in. You know, and I didn't really know who Skip was. You know, and working a 4th step, opening the door to finding out who I am. I open up the door in the 4th step to find out who I am. I look at all the patterns in my life, you know, and start to get an idea of where I'm going with this. You know, and I find out a lot of those control issues and a lot of those anger issues, you know, and I start to accept them, you know, because in the 5th step we find out the exact nature, you know, of a lot of those things that I identified in my 4th step, you know, the assets and the liability, you know, because there's some things that Skip is good at doing. There's some graces God has given me, like being loving, like being caring, being forgiving, you know. A lot of those graces my God has given me, you know, and my sponsor told me, he said, Skip, man, you can get better at those things, man, and if you work on those things and not act out on, you have less time to act out on your defects if you're looking to make your assets better, you know, and it made a lot of sense to me, you know. So I find those patterns, and in the 5th step, you know, I look at the exact nature of the wrong, and it wasn't because I was dishonest. You know, I was stealing, and that made me dishonest. Yeah, I was identifying some of those defects. But it wasn't that. It was when I let all those things, it wasn't that I was lusting. It wasn't that you know, I was deceiving. It wasn't all these things that I identified. You know, it wasn't I was trying to control things through my anger, you know, and through my resentments and through all these negative things that blocked me from my God. It's when I used all those things and put them in front of my God and blocked them. That was the exact nature of my wrong. And I learned that in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, you know. But I learned that I do have some of those defects, and a lot of them were glaring, but some of them I had to identify, and I needed you people. You know, I need to accept myself. I had to look at you people and accept you people for who you are. You know, because a lot of you people have a lot of me in you, you know. And when I started to learn to accept you for who you are, I started to learn how to accept Skip for who he is. You know, not all that, but not a doormat. You know, that I was okay. You know, and some of those things you people helped me identify, man. Some of those things you guys helped me identify. Say, Skip, you know, hey, you know, you need some work in this area. You know, I'm grateful for a sponsor. I'm grateful for recovering addicts in my life. You know, I'm grateful that my wife was in recovery, because believe me, she pointed out a lot of my defects. Okay? You know, but sometimes I need a push, you know, because I don't want to look at things, man. I don't get in denial today. I get in refusal. You know, I take it to refusal. You know, and my mind closes. And then was our literature talk about, man, a new idea can't be grafted on a closed mind. You know, so if I can't identify these things and own up to them, see, because I can own those things today. I can embrace them, and they're mine. I own them now. And I could take them to my God. See, because my God wants to change me, you know. But if I'm telling him, man, I ain't got a problem with this, how is he going to help me? If I ain't, you know, it's just like this program. If I ain't reaching out, man, and letting you know how I feel, how am I supposed to get the help that I need? We ain't mind readers, man. You know, my God knows what I want in my heart, but he wants to hear it from my lips. He wants me to share it with you people, you know, and get honest with you. You know, because, and I hear this all the time, it's like if you listen and truly listen to someone, they'll tell you who they are. They'll tell you exactly who they are when they share in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, because it's coming from here. You know, and what comes from the heart reaches the heart. You know. So today I'm starting to accept, and then like I said, the ever-changing realities of life, man. You know, things change, and more things are revealed to me. You know, as I walk this not this journey, man, because I'm not on a journey without any end today, man. I have a means to the ends. I have something that I'm aiming. I have ideals that I may never get to. But today I'm on a spiritual quest. I'm not on a journey with no ending. I'm not wandering anymore. Today I have some direction in my life. And it's only through the grace of my God. I don't deserve it. I do not deserve it. See, my higher power has zapped me with some grace, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for this learning process, to help me to accept who Skip is today, in the areas that I do need help. Today I'm seeking out some help, man, in the outside area, outside the fellowship, for a problem that I have with anger. This stems from a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood, and I'm not trying to blame people today. I hope nobody puts a gun in my head and tells me to be angry. I allow people to get me angry today. I make the choice to do it. But I'm learning how to deal with it in a healthy way today. That it's okay to be angry. But as an addict, I take it to rage. I take it to the highest extent. And when I hurt, I try to hurt others. And that's not spiritual. And as a result, I get pain. And it's not my God punishing me, and it's not the person that I'm affecting. It's Skip. It's self-inflicted pain today, and I know that. So I'm finding out that I need some help. And I share this with people. It's just like the program, man. And in our IP, I believe it's in my attic. It says if you think you have a drug problem, and that's the one I couldn't knock no holes in because. I said, man, I wouldn't be reading this if I didn't think I had a drug problem, You probably do, And then I had to use that with my anger. Man, if you think, Skip, you got an anger problem, man, you probably do, And so I needed to address that. That was one of those glaring things, man. That was one of those glaring things in my life, And like I said, it stems from the past. An environment, that I was accustomed to, but I'm grateful today, man, that I am on this quest, man. I'm finding out more about Skip. This is an ongoing process, I'm not little Skipper no more, man. It's time for me to grow up, man. It's time for me to live my life on its own terms, man. Ask for my higher power's will, man, and accept it. That's my problem, is accepting things that don't go my way, and stuff. The world don't revolve around Skip. I'm but a grain of sand on Lakeshore Drive, and I'm thankful for that, But through the steps of Narcotics Anonymous, man, my spirit is awoke today, man. It's not dormant anymore, And if you want to find out, a lot of times I hear people share in rooms, man. You know what I mean, and I said, man, I get closed-minded, man. My higher power opens my mind up and say, man, Skip, you better listen, man, because, this is not for the chosen few. It's not for the chosen few. My higher power is not prejudiced who he sends his messages through. And so I need you people, man, in order to be open-minded. I need you people, man, because the person that I don't like, and usually the person that I don't like got some kind of quality or something that I envy, that I'm jealous of, or a quality or defect that I don't want to look at in myself. So I close my mind off to that. And I ain't cheating nobody but myself, because it blocks me from my God, and it blocks me from finding out about Skip. So I need to, keep an open mind, man, to each and every one of you, man, especially the ones that I don't like. I got to love you as a recovering addict unconditionally. I love you as a recovering addict, and if I practice the principles in our literature, the spirit of anonymity, man, I gotta go past the facade, man. I gotta go past what you do and look at you as a suffering addict, and hope that you look at me as a suffering addict, because I ain't gotta go out there and find out how it is on the street to be suffering in these rooms. I could suffer and be clean as the board of health. And I could be hurting and be in pain And if I'm not able to reach out for that help, man, you people are not going to know. You know? So I'm learning to be vulnerable, man. I'm accepting that Skip can be vulnerable to other people, you know, and let them know about how Skip's feeling, man, you know. And for me, that's what this is. This is a feeling disease, man. I never woke up one morning and said, man, I think I'm going to get high today. You know, well, let me see. I think I'll get high. You know, scratching my ass. No, I feel like getting high, so I got high, man. It was a feeling. You know. But I'm grateful to this program. I'm thankful, man, to the God of my understanding to helping me find out who I am today, man. You know. That I'm human first. But I'm a spiritual being also. And I have this human experience, man, and because of that, man, I fall short. But all my God asked me to do, man, is when I fall short, to get up and to follow again. You know. And today I'm not falling on my butt. If I'm going to fall, I'm going to fall on my face today because I'm going to be moving forward. I'm going to be making progress. You know, I'm tired of falling back. You know, and I'm grateful for that. You know, if you're new in this program, stay here, man. This is where it's at. You know, this is a progressive disease that wants to kill us, man, but make us miserable. Miserable. And it's still progressing in my life. It's going right along with my recovery, man. If I ain't working on it, it catches up and I revert back to my sickest behaviors. Sickest. And it don't have to be that way. It's a choice. You know. Today I choose to live the NA way. You know. And it's working in my life today. Yeah, you know, things ain't real good right now. I'm going through some changes. Like I said, the ever-changing realities of life. You know, but I'm trying to find some acceptance with it. You know, I pray often. Man, I tell you what, man, prayers are powerful too. But I have to believe in what I'm praying for today. You know, not just say the words, I got to believe it, that it's going to happen. And my God has never let me down yet. You know, I love this place. It's a real special place in my heart, man. This is, I always say, this is my happy place. You know, I can close my eyes, man, and I can be here anywhere I'm at. You know. And it don't end, man, because you take a little bit of this everywhere you go. Each and every one of you is going to take some of this with you, wherever you go. And you're going to share with another addict, man, and pretty soon they're going to be building 3 more lodges, you know, because they ain't going to be able to hold us. You know, but this is a beautiful program, man. Don't leave until the miracle happens. You know, give yourself a chance. Don't give this program a chance because it's proven, man. You know. Like I always share, man, Narcotics Anonymous should be the last house on the left. Today it's the only house on the block. Okay? We do recover. We do recover in this fellowship, man. You know, the loopholes are gone. Loopholes are gone. You know, they don't apply today. You know. So I'm grateful and thankful. I'd like to wish you all love, peace, and recovery, and I'll keep coming back.
Thank you, Skip. Now I'd like to introduce our second speaker. And I had the opportunity to meet Frank a couple years ago, and through the common disease of addiction, we got to talking, and then through the common bond of recovery, we got to be really close friends. I'm really blessed to have him in my life, and I'd like to introduce Frank T.
My name's Frank, and I'm an addict. Had a lot of thoughts going through my head while Skip was speaking. A lot of great things to tell you. I was pretty sure I was going to cure you of all your illnesses and, you know, make the blind see and the cripple walk and all the rest of that, you know. Then I came back to reality. I'm just Frank. I'm just another addict. I think the place that I came from, some of you can relate to. I grew up with a lot of criticism. I grew up with, yeah, that's good, but, you know, you could have done a little better. Or, why didn't you meet my expectations? This is what I wanted you to do. How come you didn't do it? Well, if you didn't do that, then you weren't doing your best. The one that I heard a lot that was very true, you're not living up to your potential. And it's, like I said, it's very true. I wasn't living up to my potential. I've said it before, and some of you have heard me say it. I've never met an addict who's stupid. Most everybody that I talk to, very smart people. But we choose not to use it. Or if we do use it, we use it for the wrong reasons. And that's what I did for a long time in my life. I listened to the negative. You know, you could be telling me the greatest things in the world, but I'm going to listen to the tone of your voice, and I'm going to look at your eyes, and I'm going to see the criticism. I was never good enough. I'll try to talk louder. And like I said, I've lived that all my life. That's what I knew. You can always do better. Okay. The only thing that gave me was the feeling that I'm not good enough. Doesn't matter what I know, what I try, it's not going to measure up. You're going to be disappointed in me, and that's just it. And since all of these people around me that I'm supposed to be living up to their expectations and measuring up to their level of life, well, then I guess I'm less than. So it doesn't matter how much you tell me I'm good. Doesn't matter how much you tell me I'm smart. Doesn't matter how much you tell me anything. I'm not good enough. Over the years, that developed into a lot of self-hate. I would have one of the biggest smiles on my face. Inside, I'm dying. Because I know that inside your head, you're not happy with me. And that's what counted. What you thought of me, not what I thought of me. It developed into I'm less than human. So I used. And that wasn't my first route of escape. I've heard a lot of you talk about reading, getting into books, getting into movies, getting into music, escaping. Reading was mine. It allowed me not to deal with life on life's terms. And once drugs came along, great. It allowed me to escape even better. But it also made me hate me more, because I was told that's a bad thing, you know. So now I'm not only not good enough, I'm bad. Okay. Pile a few years of that on, and people finding out about it and telling me that I'm a bad person, I'm no good. So if I thought I was less than human before that, I'm snail slime, you know? So I dove into the drugs. I dove into the alcohol. I dove into escaping. And it almost killed me. I've talked about it before in Leeds. I've talked about it at meetings. Those last few days of my using, there was no sun. There wasn't anything except what was right in front of me. And most of the time I softened that with alcohol. I couldn't stand getting high anymore. I couldn't stand doing beaners anymore, so I was just basically doing alcohol. Anything else let me think too much. So I made sure my daughter was taken care of. She went to live at her mother's. And I set about plotting ending it. And I put quite a bit of thought into this, you know. Nobody would miss me. People would be better off without me. And it still hurts to think of that. You know, there's a lot of acceptance of what I did and everything else, but that still hurts. I did some major damage to myself. But I didn't end it, only through grace. Skip alluded to it. Something I don't deserve. I don't deserve to be here with you folks. What I deserve is to be 6 foot under. I don't deserve the nice things in life. I deserve to be 6 foot under. I don't deserve to have friends. But my higher power saw fit to give me another chance. He let me know about this program. He gave me a place to turn to when nothing else would work. Not the hospitals, not the drugs, not the family, nothing would work. So I came into my meeting holding my head down, you know, between my legs, because I didn't deserve to look at you people either. And I didn't get met with scorn. I didn't get met with ridicule. I got met with open arms. Tears in people's eyes because I didn't die. And it gave me the first inkling that somebody would have missed me. You know, I've got a daughter that I love very much. But I never thought that, you know, she would miss me. So I started going to meetings, and I was going to outpatient treatment. And I got clean, got the drugs out of my system. people told me I had to start reading. Okay, can do that. We have the technology. He told me I had to start talking. Not too sure about that one, you know? Because if I start talking, you're going to find out who the hell I am. He told me I had to do step work. And that was another one of those, well, okay, kinda, sorta. But I'm not going to get a sponsor. You know, well, he told me I had to do that anyway. But for a while, I tried to do it my way. I tried to take these 12 steps, 12 traditions, and work them my way. Yeah. I can look back and laugh now, too. Yeah, it doesn't work when it's just me and those 12 steps. It doesn't work when it's just me in anything. I've got to include the higher power. I've got to include you people. Okay, the second year that I was around and still clean, I went through a major bout of depression. I isolated again. I started thinking about suicide again, clean. That was even harder. But something was different. I knew that the higher power that had saved my ass and got me back to the meetings was still there. And I was talking to him on a regular basis. Bitching him out mostly. But I was still talking to him. And for some strange reason, I got this idea in my head. Try it your way. Okay. Don't want to, but nothing else is working, so I'm going to try it your way. I started hitting more meetings again. I started telling people, well, I don't really have a sponsor, and somebody kicked my ass long enough that I got a sponsor. I started doing the step work. Kinda. I didn't want my sponsor to know who I was. And when things didn't work out, and I wasn't progressing, I blamed it on him. I need a new sponsor. And I got one. The only problem is somebody was honest enough with me to tell me, you know, it may not be the sponsor's fault. Oh, great, so I got to look at that. And it wasn't. So the sponsor that I got to replace him was just that, a sponsor. He wasn't a friend. He was someone to work the steps with. He was somebody that pushed me. He was somebody that gave me a kick in the ass. And it was okay with those first 3 steps. I've done those, I don't know how many times. I get to that 4th step, and I had to look at me. And there's a lot of shit wrong with me. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't do well. There's a lot of people that I hurt. Okay, that's one side of the tally sheet. He also told me I had to write down some good things. You know, I work well. My dad gave me a great sense of work ethic. I'm intelligent. My mother pushed education, learning about the world and not just the little town that I lived in. I've got a big heart that got hurt too easy. But you know, that's not a bad thing. So I got this stuff written down, and I did the fifth step with my sponsor, but there was something lacking. Something that kept me feeling worthless, lower than human, not good enough to be a part of anything. And I didn't know what it was. I'd blocked it out. And all this while, you people are telling me, come back to meetings, you're accepting me, you're making me a part of your life, you're telling me good things about me, you're allowing me to do service work. And that was all fine and well until last year at this convention. Somebody shared one of their deep, dark secrets in the middle of a basketball field. And it kind of unlocked the doors. Because mine was very similar. And no, I'm still not going to tell you what it was. It's still a private thing. But I did talk to some people about it. I got it out of me. And I talked to my higher power about it. And I asked for forgiveness for me. And one of the ways this program works is I think my higher power works through you people. And I saw that forgiveness. And it wasn't too long after that that I finally talked to some people that I trust and learned to forgive myself. Because I'm the hardest person on me. You know, you can sit there and get all over my case about a mistake, and it's not even going to touch what I do to me. But you know what? Once that was through, once that was talked about, I could start again. And I've learned to accept that I'm okay. I'm not a great person. I still have a big heart, and it gets kicked around on a regular basis. But that's okay. That's part of living. I have talents, and I can use them to help other people. One of the ways I do that is service work. It's been a big part of my recovery, doing for other people. And it doesn't matter whether it's on some committee or with the group, or if it's just helping another addict with their house. It doesn't matter as long as I'm getting out of me and helping. It's helped me to accept me as I am, with all of my faults. Because along with all of those faults, there's a lot of things that I was taught when I was young, besides those criticisms, besides those put-downs. I was taught a lot of good, moral, lost for a word, upbringing, a way to live. I was taught that when I was young. I took it and twisted it. Like I said, I read between the lines and I looked at your tone and not the words. But it was there. And slowly, with the help of you people, I've learned to use that. With the help of these steps, I've learned new ways of living. And I've learned how to be a good friend. Not a great friend, because I still mess up, but I've learned how to be a good friend. And as long as you're willing to forgive my mess-ups, I'm willing to keep on trying. I've learned that I'm a good dad. I don't know. Yes, I do know how I came about that. I had good role models. And there again, I'm forgiven my mess-ups. And because I'm forgiven those, I keep trying. During the first year that I was back, I'm sure a few of you people have heard of the 13th step. It happened. I got into a relationship with somebody that had been clean for a while, and so I focused all of my attention on that for about the first year. And that's what helped bring on the depression during the second year, because that relationship didn't last. But I stayed away from it after that. I made a commitment to myself to learn about me. And so I didn't get in a relationship. And it took almost 2.5 years before I felt comfortable enough to go, well, you know what? I might be able to date. And you know, with my higher power's help in all of this, I've learned that I can be a good boyfriend. I've learned a lot of things. I've learned better ways of being a dad. I've learned better ways of being a friend. Because I decided to work on me. Because I decided to accept me. Just the way I am. I've had a lot of people tell me, you're a really great guy. Thank you. But you know what? I don't take that too far and get a big head over it, because there's always something I can do better. There's always room for improvement. And as long as I concentrate on that, yeah, it keeps the ego down and me real. Because I've had people say that, you know, they can talk to me. And I think the only reason for that is because I try to stay real. I try to stay here. I guess all of this really leads back to one thing, and that's grace. And grace is getting something that I don't deserve. And I've gotten a second chance at life. And yeah, there's times when the ego does get in the way. And I think I've got, you know, the world by the tail. But invariably, I'm going to mess up. The ego gets deflated. I've got to say I'm sorry to somebody, usually on a daily basis, because I have a big mouth. But for all of that, my higher power has given me a lot. He's given me this 12 steps. And as long as I keep in contact with him every day, all the time, 24/7, it seems to work out. My higher power has got something in store for me. There's been a few times that I should have been dead. I'm still here. I believe that there is a reason behind it, even if it's no more than to listen to somebody. You know, keep my mouth shut and keep my big ideas of how to fix your life to myself, and just listen. You know, it's like I said at the start. You know, I haven't run into too many really stupid addicts. I take that back. I haven't ran into any. You people have got great brains. Some of you choose to use them. Okay, so that's my ego talking again. But you know, I haven't run into one addict that I've, when I open up my heart and my mind, that I haven't learned to like somehow, because you come from the same place as me. Not everybody has the exact same background. Not everybody has the same experiences. But you know how I feel. You know what I've gone through. It's really important to me to know that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one in the world that feels this way. You know, and that's one of the things that's always stuck with me. N.A. Never alone, never again. It's the biggest blessing in the world. I come from a family of 10 kids. You'd think I'd be sick of being around people. It's exactly the opposite. I need every one of you. I don't have the greatest relationship with my family. It's slowly coming around. But you know, that's just my biological family. The family that I've come to accept and has come to accept me around these tables, in a lot of ways, is more important. Yeah, I'll always be there for my biological family. But you're the people that understand me. You're the people that go, you know, keep coming back. They're the ones going, well, when are you going to be done with this? You know, when are you going to stand up on your own 2 feet and use your own self-will and you know, my self-will is what almost killed me. I've got a lot of great friends around this program. I've learned to trust a few of you. I'm learning more every day. I'm learning how to live life on life's terms, not mine. Sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes it's not right. But you know, every day, at least for the last short while that I can remember, because my short-term memory is still not all that great, I wake up happy. I don't wake up beating myself up anymore. I don't wake up dreading the day. I've got situations that happen at work, you know. They hang on to their resentments. So yeah, there's sometimes I've got to go into work and face that. But even that is not enough to bring me down. It's still a beautiful day. And I still say good morning to everybody. It's not just morning anymore. There's a lot that my higher power has given to me. And there's a lot more in store, I think. I don't know. But I know that just for today, I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful for every one of you, because you're all part of what's put this program together. You know, most of you didn't help write the basic text, but you know, you helped me live it. And that's my blueprint. I've learned other things. I've learned about a lot of religions. I could tell you a lot of things about other places and other countries. But the basic text is basically what I use. You know, I go through the steps on a daily basis. You know, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4 happens every once in a while. But you know, I make my amends when I need to. And I'm not so scared of saying, you know, I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Even to the normal people out there, it works. It helps me get back into the mainstream of life. Because I can't live my whole life around the tables. I have to get out there and live it. And I have to deal with the normal people. As silly as they are, they've got every right to be there too. But you know, this stuff works with them. Because it's, to me, a basic way of treating each other decently. And I'm a good enough person, and my higher power thinks enough of me that I can deal with those people out there. I can deal with you people. I can be honest with you, and if I screw up, like I said, I can say I'm sorry. And if you choose not to accept it, you know, that's on you. I don't have to internalize that. It's not my shit anymore. I have to do the best I can, whether that meets anybody else's expectations. Doesn't matter. It's got to meet mine. It's got to meet what I think my higher power wants of me. And the only way that I get recharged and able to continue this is to keep coming to meetings. Keep with my sponsor. Keep working the steps. You know, it's taken me over 5 years to complete my first set of 12 steps. But it was worth it. No, he didn't make me sit down and run through them in a month. But I learned them. I was able to internalize them. So now we're doing it again. You know, the focus is a little different this time. I'm looking at other things. It's not the drugs anymore. It's me that I need to work on. And that's what those 12 steps are all about. That's what those meetings are all about. I spent a lot of years saying I have no idea of how to live. And I didn't. I've got an idea now. But it's a very small idea, and it just works once in a while. So I got to keep coming back and listening. And hearing how you people deal with life, and how you deal with your heartaches, how you deal with your problems at work. I need to hear this. You know, like I said, my family keeps asking, you know, when are you going to be done with this? When? I don't think I ever will. This morning, I had a minor confrontation with my daughter. Nothing major. But I was telling her things that I've told her before. She got that look on her face like, I know. You've told me this before. And I just turned around to her and said, you know, yeah, I've told you this before, but you need to keep hearing it. It's the same reason I keep coming to these tables. I need to keep hearing it. We forget. The basics are so easy to forget. That's why I keep coming back. And you know, it's a really great feeling when you walk into a room and people accept you and they give you hugs. And that boosts me a little bit. And it makes it just a little bit easier to accept my mistakes and forgive myself. Because you guys do. I've run into that unconditional love I don't know how many times. You know, and if you can give it to me, it makes it a little easier for me to give it to me. It makes it a lot easier for me to give it to somebody else. Just gotta keep trying. I don't have to be perfect today. I don't have to meet anybody else's expectations. Just mine. And that's tempered with a whole lot of love from you people and my higher power. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to have helped in any way. I'm very grateful to have been helped in many ways. Very grateful for your love. And I hope every one of you keeps coming back. That's all I got.
I'd like to once again thank Skip and Frank for sharing their experience, strength, and hope. Before we open the floor for sharing, I need to remind everyone that you are being taped. If you wish not to be taped, please let me know so that the tape can be turned off. We do have approximately 10 minutes for after comments if anybody would like to come up and share.
My name is Rosalind, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. Self-acceptance. That's something that I even went upstairs and I had a nap about it. And I said, I have to say this. I have to really get this out. And to be honest with Roz. First of all, I had a lot of resentments about Rosalind for acceptance of myself. Because, first of all, I'm female. Got to go through all these female problems. Things of being a mother. What? I got to be responsible for somebody else? You know? Second of all, the thing of being into the fact that I'm bisexual. I like a woman. I like a man. You know? How do I accept that? You know? And it happened when I was younger, when I was a child. And that was my first experience of having sex was with a female. It's out of curiosity, just like everything else in my life. Another thing is mulatto. I had to accept my color into society. Everything is about people accepting me accepting myself. You know, black and white. On one hand, when I'm in the black community, what are you? Are you white? Are you black? Are you Spanish? What are you? Yeah. When I'm in the white community, are you black? Are you white? You know, where you fit in? Where do I fit in? I'm always have to be in question. I don't know. You know. Then they get to accept the fact that I'm an addict now. You know, and say it. That's the only way how I can accept me as being an addict, and to accept this program in my life to be an addict. I'm an addict because of these things of being accepted, trying to be accepted, wanting to be accepted, needing to be accepted by myself. It's hard enough, like how they say, you know, putting the drug down. What about the other things? You know, I'm a procrastinator, put things off. I have to accept that now that I'm trying to be in recovery. And first I had a year, almost a year, last year, went in treatment. And I had to accept that too, that I had to go far away to Holly, Michigan. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I had to go to Holly, Michigan, and to get myself together, to get out of Detroit, you know, which they said, well, you know, you can have outpatient. Put me inpatient. 'Cause I know what I got to do when I'm out there, out of that safe haven. You know, and when I was in that safe haven, everything was safe. It was all right. Safe and in good health. Yeah. Just like my life. Yeah, I lived with two-parent home. Mother and father, middle class, always worked. But I was a latchkey kid. So therefore I had to be accepted again. Looking outside the window at the kids that's playing, you know, their mother, their father at home. I got to stay inside. Couldn't go outside and play. But then when I did get out there, I wanted to be grown. And that's how I got into a lot of things. I started drinking, smoking marijuana, and a cigarette at 8 years old. And that was out of curiosity. You know, just the thing of being with a 7 and an 8-year-old. 8-year-old was my friend, but a cousin from New York who was from a divorced parent family that dysfunctional. The mother was an addict. Father was an addict too. He was drinking and selling drugs. You know. But my family, they didn't do anything. They didn't smoke, they didn't drink. They did a little social, but you know, it wasn't out of hand. And then they discontinued it. I was like, why could they do that? You know, I even asked my mother when I started recovery, how did you just stop drinking? And she said, because of my illness. She has diabetes. And then she developed breast cancer. So that's another thing, you know. Oh, I had to accept this. Well, I get breast cancer. You know, just life on life's terms is hard for me. Having to accept me for me. Having to accept the fact that I have to talk to y'all. I have to listen to you. You know, I heard people that share that they did drugs with other people. I don't want to do drugs with y'all. I wanted my own. You know, I was greedy, compulsive, self-centered. Yeah, I had to accept me for me. But then I heard that how they say that I'm my worst enemy. But I thought I was my best friend because that's all who I had. for a long time, and still do sometimes. And it's getting hard for me to accept that I have to have a sponsor, somebody that I have to share with and say, well, let me tell you about this. Let me share this with you. Deep down, skeletons in the closet that, I suppressed. Put back in my head, Don't let me think about that. Please don't bring that up. And the only way how I really got to accept myself today was through therapy. And I never had therapy before, and never been in treatment center before. Never been in jail before. But as being an addict, I did, as they say. Institutions, jail, death, whichever way, it all came, except death. But I was slow to killing myself, trying to be accepted. Not only by society, but by myself. And even to accept that my hair, I got the thing of, in the black community, speaking to people who, it's the fact that, you got good hair. I had no good hair, because I can't do nothing with it. All I could do is put it in braids when it was long, pin it up, put it down, you know what I'm saying? But I can't get no extensions like how they had now. I don't have good hair. I have bad hair. Can't accept that. Oh my goodness. So what I do? Cut it off. And then I always had mingle gray hair. Don't even accept that. What I do yesterday? I dyed it before I could see y'all today. Woo! Last night coming in at 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'm in the women's bathroom. Girl, let me get my hair together, to accept me. For y'all to accept me. You see what I'm saying? But it was okay, gray, still there. But it's covered up. Just like I used to cover up everything to be accepted. Acceptability for me, y'all, is hard. I hate to even accept the fact that, see how I'm blushing? Because it's hard to talk and to accept things, and it's when my nerves is bad, I start blushing. And then that's when people say, oh, well, that's the white girl, the redneck coming out there. Yeah, you're right, the redneck. I'm a redneck, you know what I'm saying? But then I got to prove myself, no, I'm black, I'm brown, some color, but I'm me. And it's hard to accept me for me. But this program, Narcotics Anonymous, at first I thought it was a cult. Because big book, as they say, this is your Bible. But I don't see where it say Jesus. Jesus this, Jesus that. It's a spiritual program. And if you don't have a God or somebody or the Lord, whatever, but it had to be Jesus Christ to your understanding, because that's who you are. He accepted you before anybody else. He knew you before you knew yourself, or even your own mother. Ooh, that's deep. You know what I'm saying? But this program, you accepted me with open arms. I didn't like that. And that's why I was going through the thing of, should I go into the other meet with the touching, not being touched? Don't touch me. What? You want to hug me? Hug me for what? A lot of things, I'm not, hug me, you accept me? Then even, people even on the bus at home, and we talk NA on the bus. God bring people on the bus, and we all on the bus like this, and people looking like what? And then I go through the thing of, sometimes with females, because I am gay, I can say that. I'm a lesbian, yeah, I accept that. But I hug them and I'll be like, well, what's your mom's? And I had to accept that too, that I could be a friend today. I'm learning to be a friend, just a friend, even to guys. Because what I'm going to do? I like you and I like you. So all these hugs and Even sometimes people kiss me, you know, and be like, ooh, wait a minute, baby, what you want? You know, now let me go over there and sit at this table, because, you know, I come in the room and I just, oh, shoot, where I'm going to sit today? Oh, yeah, I like them. They look, you know, they're a couple. And that's another thing, you know, quiet as it kept. I do swing parties too, you know. But, you know, I like couples. Couples is cool. Everybody's cool. Everybody's all right, you know. I love people. And I just want people to love me. And you open your arms to me and say, I love you until what they say in here? Till I love myself. Oh, my goodness. Till I love me. But I'm learning to love me today. The way I am, who I am, what I'm about, where I'm going. And this is another thing I'm going to share too, is that by being in the middle class and being with people that gave me the drugs, delivered drugs to me, you know, I couldn't get with that. Talking about in abandoned, some people being in abandoned places, in the alleys. No, I'm way over by the airport, in Ritz Hotel, in Radisson, Embassy Suites, you know. But I'm not better than nobody. And I'm not less than it. You know, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know, it's just, I had to put myself into a shelter in order to really get that bottom, as they say, the hit bottom, because when I was with my parents, they take care of my son. I have a son, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm a single parent, you know, and that's another thing, I got to be a mother. But, you know, the thing is that I had to put myself at a bottom because I was too much at the top. People were taking care of me, you know. And that's another thing that I didn't accept either. Now I had to be independent. I'm in transitional housing now. That's from treatment to independence until I can get out there to be grown, because I'm still a child, 8 years old, 8, 9, 10. Whew. I don't even think, I'm not even teenage yet. I tried to be. I was out there in the rowboat trying to, yeah, come on, girl, I can't do this. So I had to, wait a minute, hold on. She kept saying, wait a minute, we in the water, remember? You know, come on, girl, get over there, sit over there and let me do the rowing. Okay, you did the driving here, so now you do the rowing. Okay, see, there I go again. Somebody else doing something for me. I can't row a boat. But I had to humble myself and accept that. Rise, you just can't row this boat here. We in the middle of this river. You can't do it, right? Let her do it. So we finally got to shore, you know. But whew. I just love this program. I love it. Oof, if it wasn't for you, I thought it was a cart. Like I said before, I keep on skipping over. That's another thing I got to accept about me. I don't have good memory. Smoking drugs all my life. Basically all my life. Whew. How many years? 20-something? You know, I had to accept that I'm almost like Alzheimer's. I forget. Don't ask me what happened yesterday. You know, and I got to write things down. Just like my mother and my father, they're senior citizens now. They write stuff down. I used to always say, well, why are you writing out a list? And you already know we done gone through the refrigerator and through the cabinets and everything. Oh, why you got to write down a grocery list? Nah, see. Your man, then she said, baby, that's the first thing to go. But I'm only in my 20s and my 30s, you know. I need a grocery list today. Just to go to the store. And then don't go talking about some two for $5, 2 for $3. Oh my goodness, I'm gone beyond my list. And forget what I came in here for. I got to accept that. Accept rise for rise. You know. And I just hope and pray that everybody accepts you for you. Because, you know, you go through life on life's terms. I don't even know what that is yet. I'm still a youngster. And I am 5 months clean. That's another thing, you know. See, nothing for me for 5 months. Woo, before last year, I was like, 5 months. You know, I even tried to make it even more. You know, but I lied to me, you know. So now, this is this program, and I'm accepting Rise for Rise where she at now. And just take it one day at a time. And accept people for who they are, not for who you want them to be, who they could be, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Forget all that. They got long hair, short hair, black, white, Mexican, Spanish, whatever. They there. And you are you. Accept yourself for who you are. Because if you don't, you go back out there and be accepted by people that don't care. All you have to be is green money. Because that's all they accept you out there in the dope house is money, green money. And then when you're out of that, what? See ya. Bye-bye. You still ain't nobody. You know, so that's no way to live life. On life. I'm going to accept you for you. Thank you for letting me share. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are out of time, so if everybody would like to join us in the Unity Circle.